So how do I write an introduction? I'm going to give you several ways to write an introduction and steps especially to writing a hook and getting your reader interested. So what is an introduction? An introduction is the first paragraph. It gets your reader interested in your writing, tells your reader what you're writing about, and it states your main point. Here are 3 steps to writing an introduction. The first thing you need to do is hook your reader. You need to get your reader interested. Then you need to state your topic. Tell your reader what you're writing about. Then you need to state your thesis. This is the most important sentence in your writing because it states your main point or your main argument. This sentence is very important because it tells your reader why you're writing in the first place and what message you're trying to tell them. So remember, the first step was a hook. So what exactly is a hook? A hook gets your reader interested. It makes your reader want to keep on reading. You need to hook your reader if you want them to listen to you. So how exactly do I write a hook? Well, here are 6 ways to help you write a hook. The first step to writing a hook is to ask a question. Here's an example. Aren't you tired of the same boring movies with the same boring plot? I have the perfect movie to stop your boredom. So here I asked my reader a question that I wanted them to think about, and then I'm hoping that my question makes them interested so that they want to keep reading and find out the answer. The second strategy to writing a hook is to tell a story or an anecdote. An anecdote is basically a story. Here's an example. You sit back in the comfortable reclined theater seating with popcorn and soda in hand. The lights dim and you're about to see the most incredible movie you've ever seen. With this strategy, I'm trying to kind of set the mood for the reader so that they picture what I'm talking about in their head. It gets them ready for what I'm about to argue. The third strategy for writing a hook is to use dialogue. Here's an example. The boy, filled with popcorn, ran out of the theater, jumping for joy and screaming excitedly. That was the best movie I've ever seen. This is kind of like the one we just looked at to write a story or an anecdote, but here I included dialogue from someone, so it kind of adds to the story I'm trying to set. The fourth way to write a hook is to make a bold statement. You're clearly stating a strong opinion. Here's an example. If you haven't seen The Dark Knight, there's no way you can ever say you've seen the best movie ever made. So here, I'm stating a bold statement. I want my readers to know exactly what I'm saying, and I say it with confidence. The fifth way to write a hook is to state a fascinating fact or detail. Here's an example. In the summer of 2008, there was a movie that made over $5 million from ticket sales and was one of the largest grossing movies of all time. If you do include a fact, make sure that you state where you got that fact. Don't just make it up. Make sure that it's a researched fact. The last way to write a hook is to quote a thoughtful quotation. Here's an example. Famous movie critics Ebert and Roper once said, "This is the best movie of the summer and possibly one of the best action movies ever made." So if you have someone important that you think would add to your argument and would help persuade others to believe you, you could include a quotation. Make sure that you have a quote from someone who is important to the topic you're studying. I wouldn't just want to quote some random person who thought this movie was great. If I use movie critics, there's more credibility to the quote. Make sure, again, you also put quotes around what the person said and you state who said the quote, so you give them credit. Now it's your turn. On your notes, you'll see a blank that says write your own hook. Here's a prompt that you can focus on. What would be the best vacation to go on? So think about if you had to explain what the best vacation was, how would you hook your reader to believe you? So you're not arguing what the best vacation is. I want you to just write a hook. Think about the 6 strategies that we just learned. Choose one of the 6 ways to write a hook. So you could use a question, you could do a story, you could do dialogue, you could do a bold statement, a fascinating fact, or you could quote someone. So choose one of those 6 ways and write a hook in your notes. After you've written your hook, please continue with the notes. So we've skipped over the second part of an introduction, which is to state your topic or your subject that you're writing about. Let's move on to the third part of the introduction, which is the thesis, which is one of the most important sentences in your argument. So what is a thesis? A thesis is a sentence that states your main point or argument. Again, this is one of the most important parts of your writing because it clearly tells the audience what point you're trying to make.